Good evening and welcome to the September 29th, 2002 Green Wave Candidate Showcase. I just wanted to do a very brief introduction about the sponsors and the arrangers of this. Stop texting. I want to do a very brief introduction about the sponsors and the arrangers of this event. We are live on Facebook and gp.org/live, and not sure about YouTube, but we will be rebroadcasting these as time goes on. And we were going to do a video reel tonight. We don't have that available, but we will be doing a program on October 11th and maybe a third one. We'll be running some more candidate videos, so you'll see more than just what you see here tonight. And I just wanted to let people know a little bit about the Coordinated Campaign Committee. My name is Holly Hart. I'm a member of the committee. The Coordinated Campaign Committee is a national Green Party working committee made up of elected membership. And then we have contacts in as many state parties as we can to help report and track candidates. We offer resources for candidates, including a campaign manual, some current and some legacy materials. We have a mostly monthly series, a webinar series that will cover aspects of running for office, generally following the campaign calendar. If you're interested in more information about the committee and what resources we have, you can check out our website, or you can write to ccc@gp.org. That's ccc@gp.org, and we will get in touch with you. You can also check our website, gp.org, and look for working committees and find us there and all of this great stuff we offer. I'm going to turn this over now to Daryl Mock. He is a former national co-chair of the Green Party of the United States, a member of the DC Statehood Greens, and currently also running for office himself. Daryl, good evening, and thank you for being here to Ask This MC.
It is great to be here, Holly. Let me do something. I'm noticing one little thing in here. It's more information than you all need to know. So just change my name. Okay, so it's great to have all of you here. Thank you, Robin and Justin and Blazin. Am I pronouncing it right? Thank you for being here. And I'm excited about this conversation. I'm excited to hear what you all are doing in your various locations and how we are creating a green wave across the nation. And so you are part of that wave. So thank you for being here to share your stories and your campaigns with people that need to know what's happening with the imperative. We are the imperative, and you make that up. So what I'd like to do first is ask each of you to just share, to collectively have a little talk with each of you as a panel, and then we're gonna take time to interview each of you individually. And I believe that when we go to the individual people, the others are gonna be put into the waiting room so that we can focus on the one person. I think that's gonna happen technically. If it does, great. If it doesn't, we'll work through it. Yes, that's what we do. So, welcome. And so in 30 seconds or less, can you each just tell us a little bit who you are and what you're running for so that our audience will know? So I'll start with who I see at the top of my list, which is Blazin.
Yeah, hi, I'm Blazin Buckshot Bloom. I'm running for school board in Chesapeake, Virginia, which happens to be the second largest city in Virginia, the 90th largest city in the country, and all our seats are at large. So I'm running to represent 250,000 people.
Awesome. Robin. You're on mute, Robin.
Sorry about that. Hey, everybody, I'm Robin Harris. I'm running for State Representative District 41, which represents Orlando, Florida.
And how are you doing down there right now? And I think, Orlando, you're not in the way, right? You're okay?
Oh, yes, we are the way. Yes, it's Ian just left us probably a couple of hours ago. I'm still a little tired. Tampa did get hit, but our area did get hit as well. So we're all just waiting to get back on the ground to help our neighbors who really experienced a lot.
Well, thank you for being here in light of all of that. And we're glad that you are well and that we wish everyone down there well. Justin?
Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm Justin Paglino. I'm in Connecticut. This is my second time running for U.S. House of Representatives in our third congressional district. We have 5 here in Connecticut. This one centers around New Haven, and about 20 towns surrounding New Haven. And the incumbent is Rosa DeLauro. She is the Democrat. She's the chair of the House Appropriations Committee. And to my mind, she really has a close relationship with the health insurance industry and the defense industry, both of which are very big in Connecticut. But I don't feel that represents people's interests. So I'm running on a platform of single payer health care and cutting the Pentagon budget, among other things.
Awesome. And just for the record, I'm Daryl Moak. I am the chair of the DC Statehood Green Party, but I'm also running for chair of the DC City Council. And in that role, the chair of the council, because we're not a state, it's kind of weird how our process works. But if we were a state, then that person would either be a lieutenant governor and or president of the Senate, the state Senate, or somewhere in that world. They could be the governor, but we think the mayor would be more likely to be the governor. So it's kind of in that world that these positions live. But the chair is responsible for the assignments that all the rest of the council members have in terms of their each of their areas that they oversee in the district government, and also for helping to set the agenda and moving items on the agenda along for the people. So I think it's an important place to be, to make sure that the voices of the people that are unheard right now are being heard and lifted up. So we'll talk maybe more about me as we go along, but we really want to talk about you all. And so what brings you all to this? I think Justin gave us a little bit about that, but what brings you all to want to run in this climate right now? We'll start with Robin.
Yeah, sure. So many reasons. Wow. Yeah, I ran for county commissioner here in Orlando, Florida, I guess 4 years ago now. And so I've been an activist and organizer on the ground for, it seems like forever. And so realizing that my passion for activism is essential, but if we want to see change at other levels, we don't erase our activism or our passion for sure, but I know that we must have an impact. When I say we, third-party candidates, people that aren't bought like us, we must have a voice, we must have a place at the table at legislation. So I want to represent and hold the pen for the people that I represent to rewrite, to write, and to construct legislation for the most impacted communities.
Awesome. And Blazin.
Yeah, so I first got involved in local politics my freshman year of high school, December of 2017, so 5 years this December. And ever since then, I've had this passion to serve my city. I've advocated on a variety of issues, from getting renewable energy to against overdevelopment and preserving the agricultural roots of the southern part of our city, among a variety of other issues. More recently, however, during 2020, 2021, I was actively involved in ensuring there were adequate COVID mitigation measures in our schools, as well as I led organizing efforts to ensure that our transgender students had equal rights to their peers in our schools and their classes when it comes to sports teams. And that was the final straw that pushed me to run for school board, because I've always wanted to lift up our city. We have so many. We're the second largest city in the state. We're the most conservative of 7 cities in our area. And if we are able to do something, it paves a way for our neighboring cities, our region, our metropolitan area is the size of over 1 million people. And over this time, I've expanded into these neighboring cities because I understand that the struggles we have are intersectional. My running is to bring to light issues on how we can improve mental health, discipline, supporting our teachers, and ensuring that community are involved in the schools. And my hope is that Chesapeake can set a standard for what our school system can and should look like moving forward, and serve as a model for our surrounding cities and even for across the state and the nation.
Great. And I got some more questions for you, Blazin, because you've sparked some thoughts in my mind. Justin, what brings you to running?
Well, a lot of things. What Robin said resonated with me, is that I've been an activist my whole life. I've always cared about economic justice and the environment, and United States penchant for war and imperialism, and I've always cared about people, peace, and planet. But I've gone to I believe in activism. We've got to organize. We've got to have these issue-focused organizations that are nonpartisan. But we also need a political wing of these activist movements, and the progressive wing of the Democrats doesn't always, hasn't lived up to expectations and lived up to hopes for most of us in all of these different movements. And I came to decide that the two-party system was never going to be adequate.
Did we lose Did we lose Justin?
To represent. I'm sorry. Can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
We can now. Yeah, go ahead. Well, the last thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not being adequate.
Yeah, the two-party system is not adequate. It forces you to pick between only two choices. It doesn't give enough representation to people because there are more than two viewpoints on a variety of issues. And I found a John Adams quote that said a division of the Republic into two great parties would be, to him, the greatest political evil under our Constitution. You don't hear that quote very often, but the Founding Fathers didn't want a two-party system. And Australia uses ranked choice voting. They have multiple parties. They've been using it for 100 years, and they've got multiple viable parties. So I am doing this as an extension of my activism to push the issues I believe in, urgent climate action, reducing the Pentagon, single-payer health care for all, a lot of universal economic rights that people should have, like paid family leave, a federal jobs guarantee, a universal basic income. So, these things need to be on the ballot. I heard Howie Hawkins say, if you don't vote for something, you'll never get it. And that made me think, well, if these things aren't even on the ballot, people can't even vote for them. So step one is getting these things on the ballot. And that's why I ran. That's why I'm running.
Justin, that resonates a lot with me. Part of the reason why I'm running with the DC State of Green Party is because of wanting to make sure the narrative and the discussions include the voices of people that are not automatically included. In DC, most everything that moves around here operates from one political party with a few others here and there scattered in. But our charter requires that our city council is made up of the diversity of our political party system, but they found ways to get around that by having independents who really are masquerading as the other dominant party. And, so they're masquerading, they were the other dominant party where they're masquerading as an independent. And so that's how they get around that. So we are continuing to bring the fire and bring the voices and make sure that more ideas are being represented. Blazin, you talked about getting started in high school and then happened to tell us that high school was only 5 years ago. So I'm very curious. Have you always been a part of the Green Party? And did you, and how did you find the Green Party, and how did it speak to you at such a young age? And I understand that David Schwartzman, one of the candidates for city council at large here in DC, is with us on one of the 3 Zoom channels. David, if you would put your camera on so we'll know that you're there, and I'll loop you right on into this conversation. I'm so glad to have my colleague and friend who also serves with me on the steering committee of the DC State of Green Party running for office alongside me as well right now. But Blazin, how did you find us? Have you always been with us? And what did we say that made you say, I want to be with them?
So I grew up in a household that we were very inclusive political parties. I didn't know just about the Democrats and the Republicans. I knew about Greens, Libertarians, the Constitution Party, just name a few. We've seen all sorts of candidates run throughout my childhood. I remember my mother voted for a local Green, actually Jeff Staples, when he ran for House delegates a few years back. Well, I guess more than a few years now at this point. But throughout my whole childhood, I was always knowledgeable that it wasn't just a two-party system. There are multiple parties. And I always resonated with the Green Party, but it wasn't until 2016 when I really started getting interested in politics in middle school, when it was Trump versus Hillary, and I didn't like either of them, and I liked what Jill Stein had to say about really anything and everything she spoke on. Whenever she opened her mouth, I was like, if I could, I would be voting for her. I didn't attend my first meeting till February of 2018 for the Hampton Roads Green Party local, but ever since then, I've been involved in the party. I have, moved up in the ranks. I've gotten more involved locally at the state and national, and here I am running to, get elected to the school board, and we have a really strong chance at having a Green Party official elected in Hampton Roads and in Virginia that isn't just the Soil and Water Conservation Board, but is actually a highly competitive district.
Well, we're going to come back to you some more later, but I'm going to give you something I want to ask you to think about that you can tell us before we're done. What do we need to say as a Green Party to other young people at your age and younger to really inspire them to join and be a part of what we're doing? What can we say? Of what you know about the National Green Party and your state party as well? What do we need to be saying? What do we need to be doing to attract the next generations of potential voters and activists? So we'll come back to that, but if you want to give that a little bit of thought, we're going to talk about the campaigns. Hey, David, are you there? You're on mute and you're not on camera. Are you able to join us? We see that they unmuted, but we can't hear you. Well, as soon as you figure it out, you just interrupt and let us know you're here, and we'll get you right into the conversation. So I think all three of you have not held public office before, from what you've said before. So can you tell us a little bit about what you hope to accomplish for your particular office that you're running for right now? What do you want to see happen, and why are you running? Are you running because you are convinced that you can win? Are you running because, as Justin said earlier, you want to make sure the issues are being debated and are there? Or are there some other things that you're running to raise visibility for your state or your local? What are the things you're trying to accomplish with your run? Justin.
Yeah, I'm trying to make the world a better place. I don't necessarily know that I will win. We have a very strong incumbent Democrat in this district, and she often wins by, double digits easily against the Republican. But, I ran 2 years ago, and despite being drastically outspent and, not having anywhere near the advertising budget, she had, Rosa had like $1 million, and I spent like 10,000, maybe a little more, which is a lot, but not compared to Rosa. I am trying to get these issues out on the table. I believe in single-payer healthcare. Rosa doesn't support it. She's not a co-sponsor. She has talked about a public option, and I don't believe that is going to work. That's not taking the profit motive out of healthcare, so it doesn't realize the savings. And a lot of people, we saw the popularity of single-payer healthcare with Bernie Sanders. We saw, people coming out of the woodwork to support this idea. Medical care is getting, the cost is just getting more and more out of control, and it's just unconscionable that we don't provide health care to everyone in the country. And that's where a lot of people are at. This is not a fringe position, and Bernie's popularity kind of showed that. But he didn't take the final leap of breaking with the party, because the Democratic Party, of course, their official stance is that they don't support single payer. And so if you're in that party, even if you're elected, you can make some noise about this issue, but at the end of the day, there'll be consequences for you within the party structure if you go against the party line. The Green Party doesn't take any contributions. So I view my run as part of the movement for single payer healthcare, but I view it as part of the run for a lot of important issues, including, much more urgent action on the climate, really redirecting a lot of our priorities in this country towards the common good, the public good, the social good, and providing public goods that people are entitled to, rather than kind of letting public policy be written by the economic elite. Um, so, win or lose, I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing because I get to talk about these things that I believe in deeply, and I think we need more Greens running. So I'm trying to set a positive example and show that this can be done. And I'm here to hopefully help more people who may be inspired to also run. It's the party's a community of progressive-minded people, and we help each other. And this. So I also want to build the party. I'm not just trying to run for office. I'm trying to build our local chapters, and really, that's the route to actual change and actual power. And we can have a relationship with issues groups like New Haven has a great peace coalition. It has a great climate group, and we can work with them. But I think you have to put these issues on the ballot, and the two parties don't always have the most progressive position even available to vote for. And I just believe that's extremely important, that the true progressive position be on the ballot, and people are able to vote for it, because these ideas, these positions have a lot of support, enormous support.
Okay, Robin, how about you? What's your goal with this run, and what are you trying to accomplish?
Okay, because you asked us 3 questions in one, so I'm just like, oh, but yeah. So
You know me.
yeah, so so many issues. To echo some of what Justin said, Medicare for all. And I don't. There's this debate on what we're going to call it. So medical justice. We need medical justice for our most impacted, marginalized communities. Most of you know my story. My brother died almost a year ago, and as he was dying, he calls me to encourage me to run because of the treatment that he received. And one of the things he said was, I don't know whether I'm being treated this way, whether because I'm Black, poor, or both, but I'm going to die. And he did. His treatment was horrible. So I want to represent, again, those voices that aren't heard and bring back equity, and dignity to our medical system. And I believe I'm the person that can do that. Also, as this past 24 hours, we've experienced another horrific hurricane here in Florida. And so we need to take a strong look at climate and environmental justice. And over again, our Black and brown communities suffer the most. The community that I live in, it's called Orla Vista. You're not going to hear it very much on TV, but approximately about 150 to maybe 200 people were evacuated because over and over again, their neighborhoods gets flooded horribly. As a matter of fact, when I ran for county commissioner before, that was some of the conversation, and there was no accountability for what happened then. Since then, that neighborhood was given $7.5 million to rebuild that structure, to rebuild that infrastructure. And today it's still a discussion on, it's just still being in design. And so people, when their time is up at the shelters, where are they gonna go? So climate and environmental justice is not about hugging trees, but it's about, again, bringing about dignity back to people that it first belonged to in the first place. Also, I want to be a voice for reparatory justice. Florida is, I think, was number 2 in lynching back in the 1800s, or and beyond. And so there is a debt that's owed its most marginalized communities. And there's enough to repay its citizens that have built this. Many of you know that if you don't know a lot about Florida history, that Florida was the hub for slavery. And so that's a whole nother conversation. But Florida is due reparatory justice to its most critical and most marginalized citizens. So I want to lift those voices and bring back dignity to people that have been left out. And kind of like what Justin said, we've got to end the duopoly. And it's about Greens being able to work across the aisle and not just isolating themselves, but it's about being able to caucus with people who have the best hearts and minds for our people.
Thank you, Robin. Hey, I can hear David Schwartzman, I believe. I hear somebody. So David, is that you? Sometimes we're hearing noises from Zoom 3 and sometimes we're not. So our tech folk and behind the scenes, if you could give David Schwartzman a call on the cell and see if you can get him to log out and log back in and see if he can get that connection. We really do want to hear from him. He's a brilliant strategist and a brilliant candidate, and we would love to hear from him and what he's got to say on these issues as well. In the meanwhile, Blazin.
Yeah, so I'm running the win. I'm running the win, and there's a few reasons on why this is a very strong electoral campaign. The first is this is the first November election in our city's history. They used to be held in May, but thanks to the activism that myself and many other community members did, they're now in November. 2, none of the incumbents are running. There were 5 seats up, and 6 seats, including a special election. I'm running for one of those 5 seats with no incumbents, no incumbency advantage here. And in fact, some of these incumbents have been on since the 80s, since the 90s, serving these positions. 3, we have broad community support from across the political spectrum. Our most successful endorsement was securing the support of the political branch of the local teachers union, the Chesapeake Education Association. And so those are just some of the many, many reasons on why we have a strong chance here at getting elected to our school board, a school board that, again, represents 250,000 people in the city of Chesapeake. And part of the reason why we have all that support is because we have an issues-driven platform. We're not just saying that mental illness is important, that we need to fix our discipline system. We're saying how, and we're backing it up with research, and that has resonated with people all the way from left to center to even some MAGA supporters, support our campaign, support me, because they like that I'm preaching solutions and not just rhetoric. That includes having screenings with their children ages 12 and up, as is recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics, ensuring every school has at least one therapist and at least one social worker, updating our current health curriculum to ensure that mental illness is taught about and destigmatized, looking at adopting a restorative discipline system that seeks to prevent violence before it happens. Oakland has a phenomenal model. And all this does is make the burden on our teachers less, so that they're able to focus more on teaching and less on ensuring that their students have a safe and effective learning environment. And this all leads to this bigger idea of ensuring that our schools have community input so they can truly be community institutions, because that's what we've always expected them to be. They're not just learning institutions, but they're places that students come to learn, to get help they need, both in home and at school, to be a part of sports, to make friends. It's not just about your ABCs and 1 + 1 is 2. It's about learning who you are and becoming that person. And so we're running to make that idea a reality, and that has been monumental in securing our support.
Can I ask you a question? Who is on your team? Who is that? And it's not to take anything away from you because of your age, so please don't hear it that way. But you are an amazing candidate. You're amazing in your speaking. You're amazing in your analysis. What are you doing to get to get to this place? And do you have mentors and folks that are guiding and helping you to shape how you present yourself as a candidate? Because it's very natural apparently for you. And I'm so terribly impressed. And I'm just so proud that we got you, that you're green and you belong to us and we belong to you. But how'd you get here? How did you get to this very, very refined professional presentation?
Yeah, well, I wasn't like this 5 years ago when I first started speaking at city council meetings. So I was very much thank you. It's been a lot of practice, and I'm by no means perfect. I'm constantly learning throughout this campaign. I have a phenomenal campaign manager who does film photography professionally, who's been a huge asset. AP Britton, I can't thank him high enough. He has done thousands of hours in in-kind labor to the campaign. People from across the community have certainly come in to support us in social media work, and again over time teaching me on how to better present myself. But it's a mix of making those connections in the community. I learned how to present myself well in virtual interviews back when I was getting interviewed by some of our local TV channels when I was heading up the trans rights rally, which is the setup is a lot better than what it used to be. My public speaking, again, it's natural part because I've been doing this for over 4 years, nearly 5 years. And, over time I get desensitized to, being scared. I just come up like, I've done this 100 times at least. I know what I'm doing, and I'm constantly working to improve, looking at how I can improve my gestures, how I can keep my eyes in a way that is consistent, keeping my thought process straight and not being too slow, too fast. It's a constant work in progress because, we're never done learning.
Well, you're awesome, and I'm so honored that you're with us and proud of you. And I hope that you will get involved in some of our national caucuses that you would naturally be a part of if you're interested, and also some of our committees. I think what you bring to the table is what we need to hear more of. I will tell you that some of it is stuff you probably won't want to be bothered with, but we need you more than you need us. And so thank you for your work and what you're doing. So you made a comment, and it brings us to another question. I want to go backwards and ask everyone this question. And the question is, have you gotten any endorsements, or where has your support come from? What is the groundswell around your campaign? I'll start with you, Blazin, and I'm working my way back to the other candidates.
Yeah, so again, Chesapeake Education Association, the political action committee, has been huge. We have support, of course, from the Green Party, the Hampton Roads Green Party Virginia, National Labrador Green Caucus. We've secured some support from national organizations, including the Free Thought Equality Fund and Victory Fund, which has been the latest endorsement. Who else?
That's huge. Victory Fund. That's huge. I know them. I went through the training when I lived in Georgia.
That came in yesterday. That was, I believe, public knowledge as of Wednesday, so yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. There may be one or two I'm blanking on, which I shouldn't be. That's it for organizations. Of course, we're actively in the works of getting more. Hampton Roads Blackhawks, which is actually endorsed Governor Glenn Youngkin. We're hopeful that they'll endorse us again, broadening that base of cross-partisan support, just furthering that our campaign isn't just for one group of people, but it's really something that speaks to the masses.
Awesome. Justin.
Yeah, it's been uphill. It's difficult getting endorsements. A lot of organizations that do endorsements, I think, have the same two-party mindset that a lot of voters have, and they kind of reflexively support the Democrat. So I'm working to build trust, and I'm working to build recognition, and I get it here and there. I think young eco-socialists and
I think we lost you again.
there. I think hello.
Yeah, we heard young eco-socialists, and then you paused for a minute.
Yeah. But no, in general, the Green Party of Connecticut has been a lot of support. That's where I found most of the people to help me. And I've found you find people as you go along to help you with the campaign. People come forward and say they'd like to help. You make relationships. But it's one person at a time. I found somebody who said, who's here in my town in Guilford, who owns a restaurant, coffee shop, and said, hey, I'd like to host your party meetings. So now our chapter has a great coffee shop to meet in, and it gives us a nice kind of more respectability or official, we don't just have to meet in a library. We have a nice place to meet. And we're starting a PAC to spend money on party building. So, it's a snowball effect. Everything you do leads to something else, and you never know where you're going to end up.
And Justin, while we're talking to you, what got you into politics? What brought you, and at what point in your life and career did you step into this?
Well, it was 2 years ago. It was 2020. I had a career in medical research. I went to med school. I did residency in clinical pathology, and then I was interested in research, so I did a 5-year PhD at Yale in virology, and then I did 10 years postdocing at Yale in a in a virology research lab. I was researching oncolytic viruses, which are viruses that infect cancerous cells. The idea being that you could treat cancer with a virus because it would infect the tumor but not the healthy cells. It's an idea that's being developed, or it could stimulate an immune response against the tumor. So that was my job. I worked, but I retired from that in 2018, and it was multifactorial reasons. But I was it was getting to be, I was a little burned out on the career, and my parents passed away, and I don't know. I decided I wanted to spend more time as an activist because I've always been an activist, right? I've always gone to the climate rallies and the peace rallies. The Iraq War really got me out of the house. I was on the streets over that war. That really pissed me off. And, but I've been doing that my whole life. And so I started, I gravitated towards the Green Party from listening to Jimmy Dore, listening to Howie Hawkins, just listening to podcasts and people, reading Listen Liberal by Thomas Frank, and talking about how corrupt the Democratic Party's become, learning about ranked choice voting. I really didn't plan to run for office. My plan was to just keep doing activism, but I kind of just gravitated towards the party, realizing that this was a way to be very effective as an activist, because as a candidate, the newspapers will interview you. I was on TV. Like 2 years ago, I was in a debate with Rosa DeLauro. That was great. This year, I'm not, because it's not up to me. But 2 years ago, I was on TV. So, I'm doing this as an activist. If I were elected, I think I would be qualified to make decisions based on my values, my honesty, my judgment. I think my judgment and my values are better than a lot of people in Congress right now. And so, even though I don't have experience, I have values. I share values with, I think, more people than a lot of people in Congress. I think my views are more representative than a lot of current members of Congress. So if I won, sure, it'd be fantastic. But either way, I feel very happy doing what I'm doing, building the Green Party. I think the Green Party is where it's at. I think it's the future of progressive politics. There have been like Movement for a People's Party. There's been, Andrew Yang with this Forward Party that takes money. I don't get it. They're gonna run. They're not what the Green Party is. The Green Party is eco-socialist. The Green Party has my values, and I think most progressives share the values of the Green Party. So I think this is where we should really be focusing our energies, where progressive people should be focusing their energy. I just think that trying to reform the Democratic Party is a dead end. You're up against an enormous force. They use dark money to defeat you in the primaries. And I mean, they put up all kinds of roadblocks to keep progressives out of that party because it's a money run party. And so this is where I think people should be at. And when we get ranked choice voting, people won't be afraid to vote for us. They won't worry about throwing away their vote. They won't worry about tipping the election. They've got it in Maine. They've got it in Alaska. They've had it in Australia for 100 years. And that'll make a big difference in terms of how voters look at elections, and how they don't have to prejudge oh, this person has a chance, this person doesn't have a chance. You just look at the candidates, you rank them in the order you prefer them, and you don't have to worry, because if your first choice is a long shot and they're eliminated, your vote goes to your second choice, and you got to express your preferences. And when more people do that, more Greens will get elected. We already are able to get some offices under the current system, but with ranked choice voting, I think we could get a lot more.
You make a great point and a great way of explaining how that would work for folks that, I mean, you made it so simple. I think anyone could grasp and understand how it could work and benefit people in terms of their vote making a difference in the election. And but I do want to say to you and to anyone that's listening who may one day feel inspired to run, everyone who's ever run for office and been elected has a first time in office. And in that first time in office, they have no experience legislating. Or if they're in executive branch, they had no experience executing. So it is okay that you may not have that. What's most important, and I tell this to my candidates that I work with all the time, what's most important is that you have people around you who do know, who do understand, who know how to write good legislation, know how to read what the legislation is really all about, who can research the issues so that you can be, there's no way you can know everything and every issue for every office that you're serving in. So you've got to have people around you who keep you honest, who help you maintain your integrity, and who help you understand what's important and keep your ears to the pavement, the ground, hearing what the people are actually asking for over what the corporations and companies and big money would like for you to understand in their advertising. So I just want to throw that out there and come right on back to my sister friend, Robin, and ask her what's happening in the ground on the ground in your campaign. Any endorsements, any support? Whereas, like, I know that I've read, Robin, that you have a widespread support across a lot of different political groups as well. That you've built a mechanism that's to be envied around the country in terms of the kind of support you're getting across lots of lines. Am I telling the truth? Tell us what's going on. You're on mute still.
I'll keep muting myself. Okay. So when I ran before, I was county commissioner, was NPA. I received tons of endorsements because it was easy. They knew I was green, but it was easier to identify with me. So this time around, it's a little different. However, I did snag a few because I guess they just could not, they could not resist, I guess, to still endorse. I received an endorsement from Florida Rising Justice on, it's Florida Rising is the organization, and it's called Justice on Every Block, because I have stood on the front lines from everything from reproductive justice to housing justice, which we just got rent stabilization on our ballot for this November. So lots of fronts, a lot of frontline standing that I've done. And we received one last week from Florida for All, which is something new. And I share some of those endorsements with some amazing Black women that are already in office. So I kind of consider that an honor. However, it is not as beautiful as it looks, because there has been some words exchanged based on the fact that I have stood on the front lines with organizations such as SEIU, others who did support me in the past. I did not stop supporting them, but because we are green, sometimes we get overlooked. So I have challenged them to look at their platforms again, because mine hasn't changed. Theirs has. You know, we have talked and walked and marched about not accepting dark money. I'm going to hold true to that. And so if they don't, that's going to be their issue. But however, those endorsements are still very meaningful because I get to share that with some amazing people. And there are at least 2 more probably coming. So I don't want to verbalize it yet because it hasn't come to fruition. But yes, we As I think Justin said, some of those organizations are dim leaning, and sometimes people make comments about that. However, they don't know the struggle. They don't know the walking that I've done, or the speaking that I've done on many platforms, and I've never ever made it. It's been hidden that I'm green, but most important, more than even being green, dim, whatever, I'm a Black woman that's going to stand for the people. So, but we are very appreciative of all the support that we have gotten and that we are getting. And I think this is a time that I think needs to be said, that our Green Party, national, state, that we must build an infrastructure to where it wouldn't even matter who we got endorsements from, as long as the Greens have an infrastructure that gets stronger and stronger, because we are about electoral politics. So I think it's very important to highlight that.
I think that's great. And Robin, all of you are doing amazing work, making a difference for us. And I am, again, so very proud of you. And I'm going to ask you all just to go around, tell us did David Schwartzman, did you ever get your technical issue resolved? Can we hear you now? We've got some time, we can get you in this conversation. If you're talking, you're on mute. Well, I think the coordinated campaign committee is going to do some more of these. I hope Holly and Starlene and Hillary and all the rest of you on that committee will do some more of these. And looks like something's happening. Well, there's Holly. So if you're going to do more of these, we hope you can get some of the other candidates. Maybe David can come back to that. I do want to, Holly, before you take over, I do want to ask the candidates to go through and tell us their website, their social media, and how we can give to them. And if you are looking for volunteers, what make your appeal to them and to the voters. So I'm going to start. Let's see, where do I start? Let me start with Blazin.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first.
Well, let me do Blazin first and come to you. You got to go, Robin?
I'm sorry.
You need to leave?
I am very tired, but no, please allow Blazin to go first.
Go ahead, Robin.
Are you sure?
Yep, go ahead, Robin.
Okay.
You're tired and you've been through a lot in that hurricane. We want to get you some rest, so go ahead on.
Thank you so much. So it's robinharrisforflorida.com. Real quick, please, your donations are very welcome and necessary. Right now, it's all about name recognition, which I do have some name recognition, but now my opponent is the before person. He jumps in this race at the last minute, and so he is the incumbent before the incumbent. So, but we can do this. I've said it more than one time. When I lost a county commissioner, I lost with the final count of over 5,000 votes. When the last time Mr. Antone won, he won with over 5,000 votes. I need your support. RobinHarrisForFlorida.com. I'm looking to be the first Green to be in Tallahassee and to write legislation. Thank you so much.
All right, and let's go to Blazin.
Yeah, so if you want to support the campaign, you can go to our website, blazinbuckshotbloom.com, just my full name.com. Find us on social media at blazinbuckshotbloom, except for Twitter, blazinbbloom. And we're always looking for first and foremost donors. We're looking to get TV ads, to get more signage to put up across the city to compete with our opponents, to even get paid canvassers to help us go door to door as we get closer to electioning these last 40 days. We're also looking for volunteers. If you can come to the area, that's great. If not, helping us to have a prestigious social media presence would mean the world to myself and my campaign volunteer staff. Any and all help you can offer is great. And I just want to say one more thing. I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but in this race, the Republicans have a full slate. The Democrats don't. They have been supporting my campaign. Independents who sought Republican endorsement haven't gotten it. We have been in a loose, not coalition, not alliance, but a lot of their supporters are supporting me. Again, this is a very electable election, And if I win, that means that I'm representing 250,000 people. So I look forward to your support as we get closer to Election Day.
Justin.
Thank you. Yes, my website's justinforall.com with the numeral 4. And you can sign up for my newsletter there. You can donate money. I am buying ads on Facebook, and I'll be buying more lawn signs and other things. So the donations do help. But I think what really could help me the most, for anyone who wants to help me out, is to follow me and share my social media posts. So on Twitter, I'm on at Justin for All 2, because Justin for All without the 2 was taken by somebody. And on Facebook, I'm Justin for All. And if you could follow me there, like my posts, share my posts, that's the kind of support that anybody can do from home, or at work, or whenever they have their phone in their hand, which is a lot of the time. And that's the kind of support I think could really help boost my name recognition. So it's justinforall.com. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll let you know that my campaign website is dcstatehoodgreen.party/candidates/Darryl-Moch, DARRYL-MOCH. And David Schwartzman's site is the same, dcstatehoodgreen.party/candidates/David-Schwartzman. And you can check out our other candidates also that are running by going to dcstatehoodgreen.party/candidates. And you can find all of us there. You can also donate to our campaigns by way of our state party. And our state party, we are running in DC this year. All 5 of our candidates that are running for our offices are running as a slate together, sponsored through our state party, which we've actually never done before. And so our donations are going through the state party. The state party is handling those things for us, and handling the management of the funds and the treasury and all of that to help us coordinate a little bit better. So we are excited. Listen, I cannot be more inspired tonight. I was looking forward to this when they called and said, hey, would you be willing to do it? I was like, sure, I'm willing to do it. But I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I did not know that I would meet Blazin and then I'd meet Justin. I knew Robin and I was excited for her coming. I wish you all could have heard David today. But I am so elated as a sometimes leader in what one might call a leader in the National Green Party, as a leader in the National Black Caucus, as a leader in my state. As a Green Party member, I am proud of you all. I'm excited about the work you're doing. I'm looking forward to your wins, whatever they may be. You being on the ballot, you being active is a win for us and a win for the community. And I'm looking forward to all the wins that you will get now and in the future. So good luck to you on your campaigns. Good luck on your work, Robin. Good luck as you work to also right now run a campaign and help repair and rebuild your city and your area from this devastation. And Blazin, you're an inspiration. Justin, you are a great asset to us. And Robin, of course, you are a tremendous light to this work and to the Green Party. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching, for tuning in, for following us on Facebook, checking us out on YouTube, listening to this, considering it. Thank you in advance for donating to our candidates and supporting them. Thank you in advance for volunteering for green candidates all across this nation. Thank you for helping us build a green wave. This wave is not going to end this year. We are going to continue building and making it happen. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you, candidates, and thank you, CCC, the Coordinated Campaign Committee, for making this possible, and to the U.S. Green Party, thank you for being the Green Party for these last 40 years. We're coming up on a 40-year anniversary, and we're excited, and we thank you for all that you're doing and for staying the course. We'll turn it back over to you, Holly.
Thank you, and not necessarily a need, except I want to thank you for hosting and stepping in and doing a great job. I found all the candidates very inspiring and not surprising, because I've been following them, but really a nice crop of candidates. And we will have David Schwartzman on, hopefully. We will have a candidate video reel, hopefully, and we will be having more candidates coming up October 11th. And it may be that we'll do another one because we've had some interest. Obviously, we have interest from candidates and people have responded very well to these. So thanks everybody for, and also thanks to Starlene Rankin, who was posting candidate information in the Facebook commentary so people could get the URLs and the donate buttons. And thanks for David Doonan, our national webmaster, who stepped in to help make sure that this got connected, because we did run into some technical issues, which we mostly overcame. So we'll have this on, and this will be rebroadcast. If we didn't make YouTube, it'll be on there at some point rebroadcasting. So, and we were on gp.org live. For anybody who is more interested and wants to learn more about the Coordinated Campaign Committee and the Green Party candidates, our candidates are featured on our website, gp.org. And that's it. Wish everybody a great success and hope to see you all back October 11th. Thank you.